that Abraham is stating, we have to take note. Hello, good morning. Good morning. All right. Good morning and welcome to Perspectives. Hello. Good morning. All right. I will allow you. Oh, goodness me. Let's take this course. Good morning.
Yeah, hello, good morning.
Morning to you. Please move away
Yeah,
from
my
your
name is
radio
Tewa
set.
Sekwangese. You always bring in very interesting program on the radio.
Thank you, Tewasi. Where are you reaching us from?
I'm listening you from Akodi High Level to be precise.
All right. Good to have you. Kindly
Yeah,
move
yeah,
away
yeah,
from your radio set, Tewasi.
yes. Man, it's a question and I need some little clarification. If you take the statistics of civil servants in Nigeria, it does not constitute more number than the people that are not working. And so this is of federal housing. It affects everybody. So what happens to those people that are not working? So that how would they stand to benefit? That's just my question.
All right. Thank you. We appreciate you, Tewasi. We'll respond to your question. All right. I will allow you. Morning to you.
My name is Jaros.
Of high level callers. The last one. All right, Jairus, good to
It's
have you on
okay, so thank you for that. Thank you for today's topic. I remember when I was working. There's one thing called federal housing. Is it federal housing? Federal mortgage housing.
Yes.
They deduct our money to the federal mortgage bank. So since I left, the money I don't see, the house I don't see. I don't know what thing that will happen. I contributed almost some certain amount of money into that account. You see, those are the area whereby the government should come out with, so that they will have the civil servants to own their own houses. Somebody mentioned something. Car, I know is a necessity, not a luxury. But a house is more necessity than car. So me, I prefer, instead of buying a car, give me a house. Even if it's a round house, where I call my own. I think it should be better that way. So I am strongly advised the agency or the department or the ministry you are working. Like this cooperative they were forming, I remember some cooperatives, they come together and buy a piece of land, share it among their members. That's another way around. So if one can copy such idea and be making land available for their members, no matter how I build their house, as far as I call it my own, I agree. So I strongly advise all these are cooperative society around everywhere. Please, don't only concentrate in gaining from your members. Try to make something meaningful to your member who are the contributor of that money by buying a piece of land. Okay, like these developers now. If they develop a two-bedroom flat and give it to a civil servant who is on level 1, level 2, level 3, they cannot able to pay for it. Which means all your service life, they talk of millions or millions or millions. Where will they have money to pay such? They just give them a piece of land, 50 by 50, give it to him or her. Once we're able to pay for it, no matter how I develop it, it's my house. So cooperative society, you have something to do. Ministries or department where you are working, try to organize something in form of incentive to your member by providing land for them. Be deducting it from their salary bit by bit. You become a landlord or a landowner to be developed by himself or herself.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Jairus. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. Strategies there on how people can become landlords. I will allow you to make your reactions to some of the callers, particularly the concern raised by Tewa Sekwangishi, who is asking federal mortgage. There are people who are not even federal civil servants. Help us for Tewase to understand the context of federal mortgage better, Surveyor or Peter, SS Surveyor Peter.
Yes, thank you. That was a beautiful contribution and the questions he has asked. You see, in the civil service, the moment you join the civil service, and you are on regular salary, they deduct some money from you for housing purpose. And like the last caller said, when he left, up to this time, he has not seen the money, he has not seen the house. People now go back. Some of us were also affected with that. We are affected by that, and we are asked to go back to Federal Mortgage Bank and collect our savings. You can go back collect, but is that actually the intention from the beginning? The money they are giving to you now is no longer coming with interest. And like my colleague was saying before, the time value of money. So, but what is expected of a mortgage institution is not what is happening. It is not expected to fund only accommodation for government, for civil servants. Because what is the percentage of the people that are civil servants? The mortgage institution, if you get outside this country, nobody buys house by down payment. It is through mortgage process. They give you a facility and then you procure your own property and pay gradually. If you have any known job, it must not be a government job. But here, there is a collapse, total collapse of our mortgage system. The mortgage institutions are supposed to be even many. The commercial banks were supposed to have the mortgage section. The development banks are supposed to have the mortgage section. But what we have is that the mortgage system has collapsed. And that is why we are now saying, okay, government, can you look at the system and review it so that people can have access to fund? You know, if you go and check the statistics, there's so much money left in the insurance companies. So much money left that have not been that should have been plugged into development of estates. They are there, they are not being used. So government is the best that can access some of these funds. And then the land, like my colleague was saying, the land is available to them. Government can acquire land for overriding public health. By using the power of eminent domain, acquire land, develop it, and then if people must refund, sell to people at subsidized rate, or get it by instrumental payment from the people. That is the only way that this thing, because there is a massive, high cost, very high level of demand for accommodation. Very high level. That's why they said that the shortage of accommodation in Nigeria is about 18 million. And it is growing by the day. When we talk of the need for accommodation, we also begin to talk about the need for particular forms of accommodation. Now, there was something that we go by the way of local building materials. Around as is here, you see these bond bricks. They are as good as even the cement blocks. But again, it seems that the price of even the bond bricks are even rising now. So we should go into other aspects of local building materials that our people can use, even at the lower level of the ladder, and use to build their own accommodations, so that we will now.
And before I'll come back to you, Mr. Sylvia Sondo. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Philip Mr. Nathan Nong.
Thank you for joining us on Perspectives.
Okay. My name is Tefa S. Philip, calling from Kent and Kano, northwest part of Nigeria this morning. Good morning, guests in the house.
Thank you, my dear. Welcome.
All right, Tefa, we are listening to you. How is Kano this morning?
The weather is very cloudy. There is a shower of rain. Just drop. This is August. So there is.
All right.
Weather is very dark.
Okay.
You see, the issue of house deficit in our country now has become alarming. You can see a landlord will be hiking house rent just because of things are very expensive now. And government has to regulate these things so that a common person can afford housing deficit in terms of building materials and renting. Most of the time, if we want to have a house now, in most settler time in our country or in Benue State there, the cost of agency will be more high. So if there's a way that government can regulate it and reduce the cost of building materials so that the developers or the house owner will reduce the price, I think we'll be having a better way forward for a citizen to afford a rent or to build house. Most of the times, if you want to go and rent out, they will tell you that things are scarce, and that's why they have height. But if they can regulate it, I think we'll have a better nation. That is my take this morning.
Thank you, Tefa. Thank you very much for your take.
It's my pleasure. Have a nice day.
Have a great day too. Appreciate you for calling in. Okay. Housing deficit and the cost of agency. All right. Estate Surveyor Sunday Ukbo, you listen to the callers. React to some of the concerns you may want to react to, especially the issue Tefa just raised now, agency for land developers and even realtors. Sincerely, the kind of agency fees that are often placed on renting, getting one to rent an accommodation sometimes in itself is really a cause for worry.
Well, in the area of the agency fee, it's regulated by a professional body. It's regulated by the professional body, but like the agents or land agent or house agent that are not regulated, and since they are not member of any professional body, they can do whatever they can do, except the law.
Are they not members of your institution? Does your institution, the Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers, have oversight over them?
No, they don't have any oversight over them.
Why?
Well, it's one of the estate profession. I said the agency is one of the most bastardized area of the estate profession, because any Dick and Harry can become an agent overnight, and they do whatever they want to do. So the institution have no control over them. That is just that. So they can charge or extort or exploit prospective tenants, depending on the desperation of the individual they capitalize upon. Like one of the other callers that called from Adoka, when he was mentioning the issue of the Shagari low-cost housing, in the then old 13 local government of Benue State, there was this replica of the low-cost housing in each of the local government headquarters. Though some of them, if you go to Gwe in Alede, you will see the federal low-cost housing. In fact, in all the 13 old local government, but most often time of late, you can see that most of the development is concentrated to urban. But even in these local government headquarters, like Shagari government have that vision that they were building low-cost housing in all the local government then. The demand for accommodation is also there in those local governments. So it's very, very important that government should spread their tentacle that they are trying to provide housing, though there's a high density of population in the urban area, but in all the local government, also urban areas, the demands also for accommodation is there, so that they can spread their tentacle to build houses to meet up the yearning of the people living in those local government. That is one. Then one other person that was talking of the mortgage. You see, sometimes you contribute something. It is not that just for maybe your contribution. It becomes incumbent of you to approach them. Having retired, so they will ask you the relevant document that you sustain what you said, so that they will know how they can guide you. It is true. When you go to a federal mortgage bank, because the other time I was there in their office, And they were saying that there are just about two, I think we have only platinum mortgage that they will direct you, because they don't deal directly even in area of this housing. You have to go through platinum or the federal housing, federal housing mortgage that is in Abuja there, under the Federal Housing Authority. So, and because you have only one, this platinum here, that they can now direct you to go through the works of they give you conditions, is it for renovation or to build or for rental. So depending on the category you want, and then they will know your contribution, and then they will direct you appropriately so that you can go and approach them, so that they can now avail you. If it is for development, you are expected to get a CFO with an approved building plan before they can start process. So those provisions are there at the federal mortgage housing. So they should also approach them, having contributed, and then they will direct them appropriately on how they will go about it.
All right. So, Jairus, I believe you listen to that in case you are still lost, or you may seek further clarification.
Morning.
Morning to you.
Hello, good morning, Nathaniel Dongo.
Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, good morning to your guys there. I'm Engineer Sunday Akbar, calling from North Bank, Makodi.
Okay, good to have you on the program, sir.
Thank you very much. A nice topic. Accommodation is very important. Even animals have their accommodation. The animals in the bush, they dig holes, they stay there. The birds of the air, they make their nests and they stay there. That goes to show that accommodation is very important for human beings. I think the sense of discipline, fiscal discipline in individuals is very, very important. No matter how difficult the situations are, situations will always be difficult. But if you make it a point of duty to be saving small amount every month, maybe if you are a civil servant or you are a trader, a businessman, set some portion of your income aside. Even every month, you can even buy a bag of cement and be molding your block gently. So the first is to acquire land. Once you get land, you can start gradually, and then once you have a focus, you must arrive there. About getting a car before or after accommodation, I think it shouldn't be cast in iron. I had my car before I got my own accommodation, and the car was very useful to me. Sometimes when I had challenges of finance, I even went on the road in the evening after work and did some kabu, I got some money for my people. So it depends on how you manage your life. So my take is that discipline is key here. In everything we do, we must discipline our lives and have a focus. If you are determined to do anything, human beings will do. Even God confessed it. He said it during the Tower of Babel. He said, human beings, when they decide to do anything, they will do it too. They have to confuse their language before they see the light of the day. So determination, fiscal discipline is very important, and focus.
All right.
When you do that, we'll have our own accommodation. Thank you very much for the topic.
Thank you, Sunday. We appreciate you. Maybe you are encouraging others to also get their cars before land, so that they can be doing kabu. All right. Good morning. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the program.
Yes, I greet the guests in the studio and I guest radio.
Yeah, we greet you too. May we know your name and where you're calling us from?
I'm Kwaza Vincent, calling from North Bank, Makodi.
Okay, go ahead, Kwaza.
Yes, you're talking about the high cost of accommodation in our society these days. The high cost of accommodation or housing in our society these days can be attributed to the activities of the middlemen, which they call themselves agents. Sometimes a landlord will build a house and put it for rent. And when you go there to rent this house, the agent will now put all the expenses, put so many things on you that inspection fee, agent fee, whatever fee, and then it will make the cost of the accommodation high. Sometimes the landlord will build the house and put it at the rate of 250, and then all with the expenses with the agent is now go to 300,000. So the activities of this middleman, which sometimes we call agents, are one of the attributes that that have the high cost of accommodation in our country. And another one is as a result of this increase in the people migrating from the rural area to urban area as a result of this crisis, this healthcare crisis. You know, when the demand of something is high, it's possible that people will now catch the advantage there and then increase the cost of accommodation. So if government can now subsidize this house that ordinary person will be able to get, it will reduce the high cost of housing in our society.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vincent. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. Agents have been indicted there. It's quite unfortunate that you say you don't supervise these agents. But one sorry situation that Vincent painted here is migration from rural communities to urban centers as a result of insecurity. Isn't it despicable that people who are running away from issues of insecurity get to towns and maybe face exploitation in the name of getting to acquire housing? Where is our humanity? Let's say Surveyor or Peter.
Thank you for that question. You see, we have been talking about this, and I think it's already a known issue, a predicament that people have been complaining about. When he said we are not regulating them, it's not as if there is no regulatory body. There is a regulatory body, and that is the Estate Survey and Valorization Board of Nigeria. It's set up by Decree number 24 of 1975. What is now called laws, this Act Cap L13, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2007. That is a board, the body that is set up to regulate the practice of estate surveying and valuation. But like field, there are quacks. In the legal, there are quacks. There are quacks all over the place, except that this particular one is too rampant. And we are saying it's government that can actually, because even the regulatory board we're talking about is an arm of government. Our own fold, we have set up the estate agents faculty, and we're inviting this, give them a lesson on ethics, give them a lesson on professional ethics, so that they will follow the process, because their job is also essential. When you come from outside and come to the town, you will discover that even how do you get a house, these people help you. But the exploitation aspect is what we are complaining about. All they need to do is to come under our fold so that we can regulate the activity. Those of us that are registered estate surveyors and valuers, we have known offices you can always meet up. But you find that these people are talking, many of them are operating under the tree, at corners of the street corners. You cannot even identify them with a place. If they run away with your money, you can't even know where to get them. So we have all been calling on them. My vice president has that duty with a team of others to bring them under our fold within Makodiasis. In other states, they are also trying to control and bring them under our fold so that the activities can be regulated. Because the institution, the board, gives us a percentage that you can charge. They go outside it as agents. What they are charging is far in excess of what the board, the Estate Survey and Valuation Board of Nigeria has stipulated, the federal government has stipulated as the fee. But you know that even in the pharmaceutical industry, you see patent medicine everywhere. It's quackery. You go to the medical, there are quacks everywhere. But this particular one, government should help us so that we can regulate them. We have the security, we have the police, have the civil defense. They have the laws. They know the laws. They should clamp down on these people so that they can come under a regulation. I think that's the only way we can help our people.
When you mentioned government should help, have you sought the intervention of government in this regard, the appropriate authorities to get these agents under your fold so you can control what they do?
Yes, that is what I told you now, that in our own fold,
For
in
instance,
Benue
at the
State
level,
now,
yes,
in
fine. We're
Benue
interested
State
in
here,
Benue.
my vice chairman, SS of Nelson, Joe Nelson, is in charge of bringing these people on our fold. He has been mandate with other members. How far he has succeeded for now, he has not briefed us. But I think he's doing exploitation is one-on-one issue. For instance, an agent that meets a tenant and takes money from him and he cannot deliver, he has a right in law. The tenant has a right in law. It is only they bring some of these irregularities to our knowledge that we can assist them. But since these things are done outside on the corners of the street, under mango trees, under trees, we are not brought into the knowledge. We hear them very loud, but people have to make complaints for us to follow up. Thank you.
All right, let's take a few messages before we come back. This one says, good morning. Is it right to increase rent without adding any value to the property? Secondly, when a tenant is not ready to renew his tenancy, how many months' notice is expected to be given, especially to someone who pays for 2 years? Ima from Modern Market in Makodi. Okay, Ima, thank you for your message. We'll respond to it shortly. We appreciate you for sending it in. The line is still open for calls as well, and we will take some few calls before we come back. But before we take the calls, I'll ask you, Estate Surveyor Sunday Upo, to respond pointedly to some of the posers there from Ima.
Well, if there is no express tenancy agreement, a yearly tenant, you are expected to be given 6-month notice for a yearly tenant. In the absence of an express tenancy agreement, but where there is a tenancy agreement that clearly stated the period you will give yourself, either 3 months or 6 months or 1 month, even if you are a yearly tenancy, that if you fail or refuse and are neglected to pay within 1 month after the expiration of your tenancy, that the landlord will set the machinery to recover the premises, and you agree that right from the onset and you sign that agreement, it is binding on you.
All right, so Ima, I hope you are listening. From our live feed on Facebook, Peter Luke says, a good topic for today's program, highly interesting. All right, Peter Luke, thank you very much for your message. We'll take some few calls before we come back. Hello, good morning. Hello. All right, we lost connection with that caller. Let's take others too. Good morning. Hello. All right. Our efforts to get through. Hello, good morning. Quite unfortunate. All right. While we try to take some more calls. Good morning. All right, the line is still open, 0814-335-9292. It does appear there's a general issue with the network out there, but it's quite unfortunate. Good morning. All right, let's take some more and see. Good morning. Hello. Okay, let's speak here in the studio. Where the network improves, we engage more. SS Surveyor Peter, we are gradually drawing our curtains on the program. What are the kind of policies that government and your institution, that's the Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers, can put in place to address housing deficit in the country? But before you speak to that, one more call and then we'll try to wrap. Good morning. Hello. Hello, good morning. Oh, quite unfortunate you came through, but we couldn't hear you. Please speak to us over here.
Yes, in order, just as you, in order to really curb this deficit in housing provision, everything is about cost. And so what I will advocate and what the institution also advocate is that one, government should try to regulate the land distribution, land allocation system. It should be deregulated in such a manner that people across board, not only civil servants, not only politicians, those who have the ability and are willing to develop, government should provide accommodation for them. You see, there has been something that has been happening in this state for a very long time. We have not been doing things to conform with the provisions of the Land Use Act. The Land Allocation Committee, the Land Use Allocation Committee, we should sit and monitor how lands are distributed across board. For a very long time, that it has not been set up in Benue State. This body should be set up in conformity to the provisions of the Land Use Act. You will see that way, the core professionals that are called to regulate land distribution, land allocation, will follow up properly. But you see the situation, even the land acquisition system in the state should follow the positions of the law so that land can reach more people. The second aspect is subsidizing the cost of building materials. Subsidizing the cost of building. And then, even land titling, processes on land titling, government should please come to the aid. Small money and get yourself, but here, it costs so much to even get titles. And it's only when you have this title you can approach your bankers to help you to finance the development. But even to get to fund the titling process, to be able to get yourself, is so cumbersome and so expensive. Government should please come into that system and then try to bring down the cost of getting titles over our lands. The third issue is that of mass production. It's only government that has the ability to mass produce houses, low-cost houses, if possible using local building materials, so that the housing stock will increase in the state to meet up the rising demand. I think that is a way to go to help our people.
All right, we no longer have the time, so I will just allow you, Estate Surveyor Sunday Ukpo, to give your concluding thoughts on this subject matter.
Well, thank you very much. You're like one of the callers has actually asked, like if you go to Abuja and some of these big cities, cooperative within agency parastatals, like the military. If you go to Kurudu in Abuja, they have their Kurudu Army Housing Estate, Navy have their own, and police have their own, civil defense, and all those people, those agencies and parastatals. So I think it should also be encouraged, because the first thing in the issue of building a house is acquisition of land. So if this cooperative can now approach land and survey, and then they can be allocated the land, they can be issued one title covering the vast land, either 5 hectares, 3 hectares, as the case may be, and then they will now give allocation to the beneficiary depending on how they lay out or how they divided the land, and then each people can now build through that. I think it can be another way out. And also the Federal Mortgage Bank should equally live to their responsibility. Like in the state here, we have only the platinum, and if the platinum, I don't know how functional is that platinum, and then they will create awareness that those outside civil servants, how they can contribute, so that at the end of the day, or how they can approach the mortgage, the bank to obtain mortgage to facilitate the building or development of their houses, at least with at a minimum percentage. It will be very, very helpful. Then, like my senior colleague has said, actually the issue of acquiring or processing to obtain a title, CFO, is very, very cumbersome. It's very expensive. Now the land form that we used to buy at 2,000, 4,000 are gone to 19,000 naira. Government should try to just at least subsidize us so that people can easily process and obtain title to their land to enable them to obtain loan facilities to develop their accommodation or housing. Thank you very much.
All right, Estate Surveyor Peter, your parting words in 30 seconds, please.
Yes, one, I will have to thank Agape Radio for bringing up this topic because it is very key. It is a program that touches the lives of everybody. And you hear people complaining from all nooks and crannies of Benue State. But again, housing as an essential aspect of a man's life is not only restricted to that of the capital. As my colleague was saying earlier on, at the local levels, people are also in high demand of land. And not just accommodation for accommodation's sake. There are certain basic ingredients every accommodation is supposed to have. If you go to most of our properties, they don't have them. What about the facilities that should go with them? Water, light. Some of the places, even access roads are not available. These are aspects that can be handled by government. And with the things are going, we hear every day that government, the federal government, by the removal of subsidy, there's so much money. Government should please do the needful and help us to make things easier for those of us at the state level so that we can afford our own accommodation. Thank you.
Estate Surveyor Sunday, I beg your pardon, Estate Surveyor Agaba Opita is the chairman, Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers, Benue State Chapter. He joined us here on Perspectives to share thoughts with us on ensuring affordable housing for citizens in the state. We thank you very much indeed for coming on Perspectives.
It's our pleasure.
He was also a member of the institution. Estate Surveyor Sunday Ukbo joined us and he shared thoughts with us. We appreciate you.
We're very grateful.
Dear listener, that's our program today. Join us next week Monday for another edition of Perspectives. My name is Nathaniel Nangu. Have yourself a great weekend. Goodbye.